Wood elves. Wood elves. Yes, wood elves. Look at them. They always look like they would just take out their bow and shoot something. They're the perfect rangers, probably, with dexterity, perception, and their additional stuff for ranged attacks for at least 4 meters away. So a ranger would be probably one of the best ranged characters. I don't know if a fighter can be. Would be interesting. I think rogue is also... they have changed rogues to be more melee striker now. And they've now given them roles even in the description. So I don't know if I like this. You should have freedom as that. I mean, it's like in League of Legends, if you've played that. After a while, they gave people like roles because people were just trolling with magic tanks and all kinds of things like that. So they thought if they'd added like roles for them, that would be good. And then after that, you had like group choices where you could choose roles, and that was limited by the roles they were giving to you sometimes. So let's look at the ranger. Yes, the standard marked prey. I've always liked marked prey because I've loved my companion, and it works so good against that. Marked for the hunt. Upgraded. If the prey is killed, the mark will jump to a nearby enemy. That's new, and I really like that. Rangers, really, really good. What would you go for? Attributes for a ranger. Yeah, still dexterity and perception are really good, so everything else is a bonus. I don't know if you should bring constitution or resolve down too much, because it can be really annoying to have that down very, very much. But I've done that. I've been there, done that. And it worked out in the end. It was sometimes annoying, but in the end, your equipment is more important, and then these are just nice bonuses. So let's see. Wounding shot. Inflicting raw damage over time. I think it was bleed damage in Pillars of Eternity 1, and so wounding shot is buffed now. Or maybe it was changed too. The hobbling shot, hobbled, quite good if you have a rogue too. That can go for flanking attacks. I think hobbled enables sneak attacks in the rogue. And you have accurate wounding shot. The aim becomes far more accurate. Quite okay, I think. But yeah, adding an effect is probably more powerful. While accurate wounding shot would be good for boss fights. Question is, how often can you use wounding shot? One time maybe? Probably one time. Then we have passive abilities. The Faithful Companion. That was always one of my favorites. But only later on, because at the start the companion always died, so you would go for something more sturdy. Resilient Companion at the start, and later on Faithful Companion, and only after that you are sure he's on your side and survives, you can go for things like that. Merciless Companion. Sneak attack damage, which is good for the hobbled again. And Vicious Companion, it just deals more damage. I would prefer the Vicious Companion, just for being safer. Oh yeah, casters. Oh, I'd have loved casters. But casters had so many possibilities, right? You could play them as tanks, you could play them as damage dealers, you could fool around with them. It was just like in D&D, where, like in the early D&Ds, like D&D 3 or something, 3.5, where casters were like the god of the game. Do you have here takedown? Instructs the ranger's animal companion to rush a target, knocking it prone. Yeah, we know that already. It's a useful thing if your companion is good at hitting stuff. So accuracy versus fortitude. I don't know if it was deflection, but now that it's against fortitude, you can send him to enemy casters, and it will be very, very useful then. If you combine it with a faithful companion, you can use the takedown, and it is very good. Takedown combo, plus 100% damage taken for 10 seconds. So prone and then damage taken is improved. Nice. Brutal takedown. What is the difference? Upgraded from great. It's a large penetration bonus to the attack. So that's probably you want both. But I don't know if that is possible even. If marksman, I like that at Path of the Damned to have more accuracy with ranged weapons. Always useful. Not that the power super skill, but always useful. Protective companion. So, let's get back to it. We've got a protective companion. You got to make sure that your companion is powerful enough to resist two enemies. That's one of the problems if you're going for Path of the Damned. Some of these abilities are really not useful, and that could be one of them. Your companion might just not be sturdy enough, even though I've had good experiences with him tanking. Later on, one of that guys near Thayers, these big horned guys, how were they called? My companion tanked them quite okay for a little bit. Then we have shot on the run. That is, I think, better than... better at boss fights. It's very good for boss fights. Recovery penalty while moving is reduced for ranged weapons. That can be really good at boss fights. And at boss fights is where you need your special abilities. So, or your abilities. So, definitely a good ability. And of course, gunner. Less reload speed. 4 crossbows, arbalets, and all firearms. It's just good. Even though firearms are not my favorite thing to have in a ranger. Let's see. We have, at 3 we had already looked at hobbling shot, accurate wounding shot. Then we have heal companion. I like that because I like my companion, and the bonuses we get when we attack together, like Stalker's Link. Mostly I had some item that gave me Stalker's Link, and then that would be good. So that is just not just healing here, the upgrade, but also hardy. What is that? What? Wait. 5 constitution for armor rating for 6 seconds. Well, for 6 seconds that bonus is kind of meh, but it's better than nothing. I mean, it would increase if you have, I think, high intellect, if I'm not wrong. Evasive roll. Ranger quickly dives to a safe distance, gains the quick inspiration. Can be good, but if you're really good at positioning, you can evade anyways. So, evasive fire. Quickly dives to a safe distance and gains the quick inspiration, which gives you 5 dexterity. Ability does not cause recovery. Oh, alright. Ranger immediately attacks a random enemy in range. That seems good. Predator Sense. Good combined with a wounding shot, right? Here. suffering a damage over time effect, the wounding shot, if that still is a damage over time effect, then Predator Sense will be good if you use that. I've always gone for Marked Prey because it was more generally applicable in my mind. But I even took Predator Sense after that because I had so many things getting applied to the enemies, formed a mage, wizard, whatever. Defensive Bond. I love that. It was very good for the end fight against Theus. And after all, like, you have to judge these abilities on Path of the Damned mostly for really big fights. Because the other fights, yeah, if you do them quicker, so what? It's not... like, you have to survive the really big fights. If you do your easy fights more quickly, that won't help you at all. I mean, it will save maybe some time, but really not much time. So defensive bond is quite good. Protection against area of effect. And strengthened bond is even better. From +10 to +15. But they must be within 4 meters of each other, so that is a little bit not that good, but it still can be quite good. And we have the concussive shot here. Interrupting them. Yeah, that's a 1 interruption. I think it's better, though, on lower difficulties. Because, yeah, I think it's 1 shot, and that's it. It can be good, but the chance on Path of the Damned that you miss is very high on the enemies you want to stop, which are mostly bosses. Then, otherwise, other things you can survive. So yeah. So when we have that upgrade, Stalker's Link, I've always liked that. Efficient team, Ranger Animal Companion gains also +1 engagement. And gaining 10 accuracy. Ranger now also gains an accuracy bonus when fighting any enemy threatened by the animal companion. It was good. It was good. So, let's see. What is the highest level abilities? Binding Roots. I think I've never used that, but I should have. It is good for kiting, I think. Was that also in 1? I don't really remember. Conjures roots from the ground underneath a target, causing them to become immobilized. Can probably be very good. Also adding immobilized and stuck here. So giving the rogue better chances to attack too. So all in all, a good ability. But it's always... I think it's limited now, the defensive abilities that you can gain as a ranger. On Path of the Damned, I've always liked the defensive abilities, like from the fighter. I've also given them... I hope this is kept, and this is just the specialized abilities. The class abilities. The defensive abilities, because to survive is always better, right? I have the Master's Call. Calls Ranger's Animal Companion. Back. Plus 100% stride, plus 5 dexterity. Good to save you. If you have a ranger with, like, the typical ranged ranger with low constitution, you could call your companion to save you. You could also call him to save the companion. So that's a good ability, but if you plan right, it gets a lot less useful. In a boss fight with a lot of adds, this can save you. Can save your ranger, so it's a good thing to have. We have here driving flight. Ranged attacks bounce 1 times with ranged weapons. Yeah, behind for less damage. You don't care, that's a good ability. But not unbalanced. Like in boss fights, you usually, or at least very often, eliminate all the adds and then eliminate the boss. That's done so because of this story. You don't want the boss to fall first and then clean up the rest like that. What is that? That is not a story, right? That is not dramatic enough. So most boss fights have the boss going down last as preferred method of fighting that. And so driving flight becomes less useful, but gets you to the you versus boss situation sooner. So I'm not sure. I'm split on this. It's a good ability, but it's not unbalanced at all. So we have the rangers, and we looked for the wood elves. Pale elves with their damage reductions can also be good because of their, in general, abilities. And Ormawa with might. Definitely an option, also with a weapon set. More weapon sets as a ranger are good. Yeah, a ranger with a gun is quite cool. I remember that really, really old game. I think it was called Arcanum. There you had guns. It was quite cool. So Island Ormawa, Coastal Ormawa, not that good for a ranger. I mean, if you could go probably also for a melee ranger. How would that work out? I don't know. Then Coastal Ormawa are a lot better. Island Ormawa in general are good for a ranger too, because might adds more damage, and that's not bad. Then again, we have the dwarves. We have dwarves with... Oh, come on, now my smartphone is interfering. So we have the dwarves, the boreal, with the hunter's instinct. Gives 15 accuracy against primordial and wilder enemies, which is quite a good group. Quite a good group of enemies, so they're exceptionally powerful against these then, but that's not my preferred thing. But if you go for a hunter, probably boreal dwarves will be good for you. Nazitark, like, how was that companion called? I always forget the names of these because I didn't play with the companions. I played with my own group. So Ormawa, good dwarf, yeah, boreal dwarf. So Ormawa are island maybe, and dwarf, boreal dwarves. Then we have godlikes. Godlikes I really like death godlike for the finishing ability. Dexterity and intellect are also good for rangers, definitely. And for the dwarves, yeah, might and constitution is never that. I mean, the dexterity can hurt a lot. It's, yeah, but it's not terrible. Nothing of these modifiers is really terrible. You can still play it on, I think, also in Path of the Damned. It's making that up. Death Godlike would be my favorite, probably. Moon, Nature Godlike. I don't know. No, Death Godlike definitely would be my favorite for a ranger. The other abilities aren't that good for a ranger, but against all targets with low endurance, Death Godlike gain a bonus to damage, and that damage is multiplied, so it's just a good, like, if you want to kill someone, bam, go for your Death Godlike. Good for any damage dealer. Humans, might and resolve, not especially good. I wouldn't go for a human ranger. You can play him, yes, but Orlan's might be better. Less might, but much more perception and a little bit of resolve. Resolve isn't that good. It's also not bad. It gives you a will save. And perception is very good for rangers, so Orlan's having that would be really good. A Defiant Resolve of Wild Orlan's isn't... Yeah, it is okay. Because you can then resist more attacks, like magic attacks mostly. Minor Threat, though, is quite good. Does 10 hits to crit when attacking the same enemy as an ally. You would do that, and I don't know if your companion counts. If that is so, then Minor Threat is pretty great. So that Orlan, right? That's quite good. So Orlans are definitely good as rangers. But I think half Orlans. Yeah, half Orlans are good. Wild Orlans are not that good. Half Orlans are the ones to go for. Looking into multi-class, right? And just for some fooling around. Oh, we can look. There are subclasses now for the ranger. We'll go single class here again, and oh, you can also have fighter subclasses. Right, super good. Now I missed that. Well, now we're at ranger. I didn't know that the subclasses were already in the game. I think they weren't too. I think it was updated. So sharpshooters, what would you choose? Focus their attention entirely on ranged combat. Yeah. I really like sharpshooters for Path of the Damned. Penetration and accuracy is superior, but they take more time to recover between attacks and have poor deflection. Yeah, hitting and penetration is very good at Path of the Damned. The ability tree is, I think, here, that's the sharpshooter. 2 penetration with ranged weapons, 15% of hits converted to crits, 10 deflection plus 10% recovery time though. I think it's okay. Definitely think it's okay for Path of the Damned. If you want a damage dealer, go Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter is very, very good. Then Ghost Hearts. Rangers whose animal companions have died but remained in the in-between as spirits who serve their masters. Ghost Hearts can summon the spirit of their companion in combat for a limited duration. So they don't have an animal companion, but they must actively summon it. And that the animal companion is immune to engagement. So it's a pure damage dealer. Costs a bond and has a duration. So, for longer boss fights, I wouldn't recommend the Ghost Heart. You would have to wait for a special time to go for your animal companion. But maybe they are imbalanced. Maybe they are really, really good. And I'm not... I mean, I have never played the Ghost Heart, right? So maybe they are really, really good. And then that might change. Maybe they are the burst damage dealers of whatever. We have Stalkers. Strong bond with their animal companions. Excel when they are close to each other, but suffer as soon as they are separated by distance. So, that would be maybe like the near range if you want to go firearms. And a Stalker. Yeah, let's preview that. Here, deflection and armor rating. go back to the Ghost Heart and look at that ability. How is that? Immunity to bonded grief attacks. Yeah, I don't know about the Ghost Heart. I mean, it's cool to roleplay, but... It's so-so. It's so-so. We'll see how this works out. Let's go back. I want to look at the fighter subclasses again. Give me a moment.